It's pretty cool. A better place than New York.
It is.
It's pretty sick.
No, but I love your magazine.
Thank you.
And I was sorry, but the interview back then wouldn't have made sense. I was like totally not in the best shape. I was super exhausted.
Yeah.
And I think I was not even in the city. Something was timing-wise really off.
Yeah, I think you... And I was like, we've done this whole magazine based on it'll happen when it's right to happen, which is really infuriating for some people, but we're like...
That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
That's how you create quality.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And we didn't have any background in the magazine. I was from clothing.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. One of my questions was like, do you ever feel like, fuck, what have we done?
Oh yeah.
Like you're like,
every day.
My god.
I mean, it gets better a bit, but I'm scared that it gets better. I like that feeling.
Yeah.
I like to be jumping into a territory or into a challenge where I have no idea what will happen because it knocks out my brain and allows me to decide with my instincts. And originally I'm a creator, I'm a designer originally, and I would say the most time of the day I spend to prepare myself to work. Even if I was sitting there and working, it was not really working. It's like you try to shut your head off. Of course you have to think a lot of stuff through and whatever, and it's preparation really, but you need to knock your head out often to really create something amazing.
Yeah.
And I did that always with like drinking a lot of coffee, not sleeping, and I never really did drugs, but for me it was really, I had to exhaust myself a lot to be even able to create something meaningful.
Yeah.
And therefore I appreciate highly when there is a strong worry or a strong doubt, because especially something like also a strong complexity, because it allows my instincts to take over for a long time.
Yeah.
Then I can take a break and my brain kind of sorts it all out again. But it's really, first you go out and you learn, first you make your decisions, first you pivot, first you create an event, first you produce something, first you do, and then you understand why you did it. And then you learn really and you prepare yourself for the next step. That's how Parley was pretty much started. We pivoted all the time. It was really driven by having the feelers out and feeling yourself, but also feeling your environment and feeling the reactions out. And this is something that I couldn't do in this radical way ever before, because before I created brands or I recreated brands for others. Now it was like an individual that was a brand, or a government, or a corporation, and they always want to see first a full worked out plan and a time plan and a budget plan. The budget plan is the easiest, but the time plan is not so easy, because how can you truly control a creative and predict a creative process? It's impossible. So actually I would say that I was a very big pain for my clients. Of course it was pretty much always successful, but I took myself this freedom, this liberty. Luckily I was never molded by an organization. I choose the renegade way from when I was like super young. I never really allowed anyone to employ me or to tell me how to do things. Yeah. I needed to understand it in my head. It had to be logic, and to follow a plan that doesn't make sense, that doesn't have true experience in it as a guiding force. I would never believed in these papers. That was for me a dead thought, And back to your question, I ask myself every day, is our job done? Or is this part of the job done and now I have to do something else with it? Or where could we help the most? Is it now my ego that wants to take over and now I suddenly want to become, I want to be the owner of this field? Should I let it now go? And I have this doubt all the time, because Parley is not something that is fixed. That's not something that ever finds its final form. It's not a product, and because it's purely designed in a way that it serves only one purpose, to protect the oceans. And specialized now on what we are talking here about our ocean plastic program to end plastic pollution. So I cannot afford to get entangled in something that distracts me from that way. Even if there would be tons of business opportunity. But I invite others to take them. You know, I invite others and say, listen, there is now a huge business. You should create a material company, or you should create a specific product with our material because it's hot as shit. And if you do it, you could kind of build into your company a fundraising mechanism for us so we can keep pushing forward because we don't have time to lose. We have to push forward. But I love, that's such a relief as a creative. In the past, there's so much ego involved when you create. You're always so anxious that somebody copies you or is out there with an idea first. All these things, you know. And it's not only ego, it's also like the rule of the game. If you are a designer, you have to be the number one. You have to perform. You can't copy. You can't. You hate to be copied, but you get. And suddenly, I love it. I love it. If there's somebody coming and says, you know, I have the same idea as you, I'm gonna do that in Argentina. I love it. Do it. If it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, as a creative, that took a moment because you have to allow your ego to kind of find still its hunger in a different field, you know. And I think where I really, what does kind of keep me relaxed is that I see the reactions of people, and I see negative reactions, I see positive reactions, but I see reactions, and this shows me that we are not wasting anybody's time. I think, you know, that's pretty much what it is. You know?
Nice. Yeah, creating things is. Do you feel like you're just a guardian of it, as opposed to?
No, we are more than that. We are catalyst.
Right.
And I think, you know, the point is, we are test pilots. That's what we are. We're taking risks. Heavy risks. Yeah, we're saying things where we never really know if we can really deliver. You know, we are doing things where we often don't know the outcome. We're investing into things that make fiscally no sense. The job of Parley is to figure out what works and what doesn't work out, and prepare to the moment until it can be scaled up. Because we want to avoid that people are running around, making mistakes all the time, going in directions that don't make sense, and we just cause chaos. That's not what we want.
Yeah.
What we would like to do is, and what we're doing is, we want to give a strategy. We want to help to kind of direct things very clearly and certain. Because otherwise we can't go fast and we can't go global. It means we have to be on one side very simple, as the air strategy is very simple.
Yep.
It's easy. But the application for that needs a bit more knowledge. And so we have to play through all these scenarios. We have to see, okay, how can a company in a big size really apply that? How can a company totally being addicted to plastic apply that? How can a company not even touching plastic apply it, and why would they? How can we make it interesting for governments? And how could they roll it out? How can you roll it out in a kindergarten, in a coffee shop? We have to think all these scenarios through, and then inspire each of these special networks, each of these business categories or groups in society to create with us the first showcase. And then everybody will copy. But if you're not doing that, if you're not putting a recipe out, we're losing too much time. Of course, it's great if people come up with better stuff, and they will. And then we adopt and adopt and adopt. But I feel you need to inspire creativity. You need to allow moments of true collaboration, yeah, and teach in a way, or not teach, but give tools out or show how it can really work to create an environment where people understand the benefits of collaboration and learn to truly collaborate, because it's a word that everybody uses, but how much true collaboration really happens, you know?
It seems to be lost quite.
It is, because we're all ego shooting like hell. And the third is technology. We need heavy-duty technology now, because the stuff we have to replace is stuff that has been developed over years and years, decades really. And now we are going in and saying, this has to go, this has to go, this has to go, this has to go. We're talking billions of dollars. And again, not one company will touch that. You have to create a very strong market. You have to be very specific. You have to understand this specific material needs to go. What do I do? What is the replacement? And to be very frank, and at the moment we don't have these replacements in a lot of areas. Yes, we can avoid things, and yes, we can reuse recycled material. But the truth is, it's all not the solution. The solution is to replace this superstar of a failure, this material, plastic, that is still rapidly increasing in use, rapidly, because it's so cheap. It's the standard. And to change a standard, you have to create a new standard. And I know how hard it was to even align on some simple standard like music codecs or film codecs, you know, I mean, how much shit was there, you know, until we came to an MPEG or, you know, or a CD, you know, or a DVD. It was like in-betweens. And I would say that's what makes it challenging for us. How can we have that impact and that, I would say, laser sharp focus in so many different industries and sectors at the same time that we can actually really make this existing standard obsolete and create the demand and the safety really for our partners and for the whole industry, for the whole world, to decide for new ones. And I believe that this is something not one person can do alone. This can only be done by a strong collaboration network. And it's not that you can have meetings every day and think. This is not what you have to kind of get this deep understanding in you, and you just develop your own feeling of how and acceptance that this strategy is the right thing, and you adopt it and make it yours. That means I have to offer it to you in a way that I leave my ego out of it. Because if I attach that to my ego, you will probably not be able to accept it. Because you would support my ego with it, and that's not what I want. It's a bit complex, but end of the day you have to really think open source. And still keep a certain guarantee factor in there which doesn't allow people to abuse the idea and just make a quick buck and make themselves look good. It's a very thin line, it's a lot of balancing.
Yeah, that must be
It's the hard one.
the hard bit, because it's so appealing.
Yeah,
Isn't
it is, and you have no idea what's happening. All my partners are like, Cyrill, what is happening? We are doing this since 15 years, and suddenly everybody is calling and wants to buy our trash, and they're offering us a lot of money. I mean, that's what we wanted to do. Yeah, we wanted to raise awareness for the problem, done. We wanted to raise awareness for the oceans, okay, first, done. We wanted to raise awareness for plastic pollution, done. Yeah? We wanted to create value in the material, and fortunately we thought it through, because this is the thing what you always do wrong as a creator. You always expect to fail, but very rarely, and that's what I really learned. This is the one thing I really learned in my creative career. Don't think through what's happening when you fail, because you fail, you lose money, fuck it. But what happens if you win? What happens if you succeed? What happens if you hit a trend? Or even create one, or you see one coming? What happens then? What is it you're putting onto this planet? And how do you make sure this wave that you're creating is hitting in the right direction? That was one of the biggest, I would say, or is one of the biggest challenges. I didn't doubt that this will be a trend, I knew it. We created that trend, and I know that the environment was perfect for it, because it's not something, we didn't create I would say, the soil for the trend, because the soil for this kind of trend is in us. Everybody knows that this planet is broken, and there's no answers coming. So anything that looks like a creative solution for a severe problem will be rewarded and celebrated, especially when it hits the fashion and the design segment, which we kind of totally in art, totally focused in. So it's not something I didn't know how to do, it's what we did our whole lives, just for the oceans. But what then? You created a material called ocean plastic, you trademark it, you're not designed to make money really, but you want to make sure that people commit to change if they use it, and not just go out and sell stupid stuff with it and just make a buck. That's the complex situation. That's why we have to move very fast right now and get the key players on our side and say, I'm gonna invest into this. I'm gonna commit to this. And that's why I would say ocean plastic, the idea of ocean plastic and the air strategy comes really as a couple. One is the flag, the other one is the operating system.
Right.
Does that make sense for you, or is it too
no.
freaked out?
No, totally.
Okay.
I was lying in bed this morning.
But that stresses me out. That stresses me out right now.
Lying in bed?
No, that we have everybody's rushing in now. All the biggies, everybody. We have no idea. It's like insane. All the chemical companies, the big soda companies, all the fast fashion people, they came early. They wanted us, and we said we can't do it. If you don't commit really to change, we cannot give you our brand. We cannot give you our material. And then they did their own things, and they're playing their game, and this is okay, but it's not what we want to do.
Yeah.
And it's also, to be honest, I really feel that it's not only about this material. People are not dumb anymore. It's like, it's all about, is an organization truly interested to change? And you will see it on every little detail. You can put as many T-shirts out made from ocean plastic. If you host the next big thing and there are water bottles and plastic cups everywhere, I mean, why wouldn't you? The guy speaks bullshit when he gives a press conference. You don't believe it.
Yeah.
I think this is something what probably can give us trust now, because we are all used to bullshit and we are all media socialized. We actually can recognize if something is true or not, and honest and not. I hope so.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm happy. We made it. I'm happy that there is now, I would say, the first time an appreciation for the thought and that environmentalism can be good for business, even if it's still a little twisted. But we are heading towards the right direction, And I believe it is, because and for the partners that are Parley partners, it had been and is good business, and it encouraged them to do more, and this is something beautiful. This is something that I feel Parley is not a protest organization. We're not going out and blaming people. We want to create ocean champions, and we want to celebrate them for what they do good. But also we are annoying, and we have strong contracts, and we have benchmarks, and we have our roadmaps, and we want this to happen in a certain time, and we're not going in short term. We're always going in long term.
Yeah, I think that's what feels so attractive about it, that it is that it's not a protest. Because I think businesses are great. They have the potential to be great.
Absolutely. Something beautiful. I give you something, you give me money for it. I created something, you like it, you give me something for it. I can make more. Super idea.
Yeah, really simple.
Yeah.
And then people kind of, and I was going to say,
there's always a story attached to a product.
Yeah.
I got this there. It's here. They're like the new messengers. It's actually the new advertising. Products are the new advertising.
Yeah. That's nuts, isn't it? It's gone from full circle. Because I guess you must get people that are skeptic, doubters, a bit pissed off, because you are going, business will change this. It's not just, sinking some ships that will say, it's...
The funny thing is the ship sinkers are the first ones to understand it.
Right.
Because they are thinking very systematic, because they go for media and influence and how to change. They're taking a total different approach. But you're right. We have a love-hate relationship to a lot of environmental organizations. I would say we have a very strong core of really, really hardcore activists in our network that truly believe in us.
Yeah.
And we have, I would say, extremely open and transparent conversations like all the time. And they see what we do, how we do, what motivates us, and they respect that. But there are others who are, as you said, jealous. And they try either to copy it or they try to attack it, because, and that's the problem in the environmental movement, you have to throw shit at others to distract their donors or their funders and make them understand that you are the most beautiful girl in town. It's their mechanism.
And that's ego again.
It's really business. It's economics of the environmental movement. It's all about money. When I understood that, I was very disappointed. It's really about money. It's not about the best strategy. It's about money and trends. You don't want to look bad. You can't miss a trend. If there's a hysteria going on in this area, you have to lead it.
Yep.
Or you have to find a bigger topic on the other side. So it's trend again. And it's again about money. How can I look the best to my donors and to my supporters? And often, to be very honest, it is exactly what happens in the industry. Just, it's exactly the same thing. It's mirrored. We are running on one operating system.
Yeah.
And but over time this changes because they see that you're moving on and moving forward. They see the results. And I would say now we reached the point where even the harshest critics understand that we have true intentions and that we are very, very impactful and that we are extremely fast. That is actually what we are. We are impactful and fast. And we help the whole movement. I mean, the whole plastic movement has a high right now.
Yeah.
I mean, when we started, nobody wanted to give them money. It was not even recognized. People thought, what are you coming now with that plastic? What's wrong with the plastic? Nobody wanted to believe it,
Yeah.
And that's not something you achieve alone, but we gave it definitely the symbols. We gave this movement some symbols and a clear strategy. And we have now the lead people are backing it. I would say the people that really know what's going on. Also the scientists, And that's actually what is for me the most important. Scientists often have all the knowledge, all the facts. They know exactly what's going on, and nobody listens to them. Nobody translates their knowledge into action.
Yeah.
There's a big disconnect. Must be very hard to be a scientist, torture.
Well, they live in their own bubble, don't they?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, but to be honest, it's frustrating for them.
Yeah.
We do a lot with the space community, and they're like excellent earth scientists and excellent material scientists, but especially the environmentally oriented ones. They are a big part of their job definition is really, or the challenge they kind of put on themselves is, how can I find a way to translate my knowledge to the outer world? Because in the bubble we cannot achieve anything. And I would say Parley has that role to a certain extent, to give people access to things they don't know, or make people understand others whom they would normally not understand, or to allow themselves a moment of empathy where they normally wouldn't look, or found themselves too cool, or whatever. We are so easily caught in our little world, and I think what our main objective really is to create these moments, not all the time, but create moments where these different worlds, these different realities we all live in, these different networks we all kind of are part of, that are sometimes overlapping, but very, very, very rarely really connected, that these networks, that these different spaces connect. And that is a moment that I experienced back then when I met Captain Paul Watson in June 16, 2012. By a total accident, I ran into an environmentalist that I found cool. Would he be a total other guy? I probably would not even have been interested.
Yeah.
I was super superficial back then. I was like, was a cool pirate. Had a TV show, fucking cool. I want to see him.
Yeah.
Very, very, very superficial actually.
Yeah.
But then something happened. And this moment where something happened for me in my life and changed me is something that I wish from all my heart everybody to happen. That's the gift that I got. And that's what I really feel, that everything what we do has the intention to give that, to give this ignition spark to others,
Well, that leads really well into... We have one question.
Okay.
For the magazine's based on, we have a manifesto on the back, and we just pick a word for the next issue. This issue is evolved. And everyone that we've met, whether they're free climbers or punks or whatever, they've all gone through something to make them who they are. And the question we've had is, do you have to suffer to evolve? Like, do you have to go to that point? Because most people don't want to go to that point of breaking. It feels like the ocean is...
There's always pain if you change.
Yeah.
Because without disruption, I hate the word, but without destruction, the new is normally not possible.
Yeah.
It's not a... And for me, the process of change started already in 2008 when I decided for myself that I'm going to leave the I don't even know anymore how you want to call it, the design business. You can also call it advertising or whatever it was. But it was a mix for me. We did identity, product design, and media strategy. But I was just done with it. I didn't want anymore to work for other people's babies or foster other people's babies and then be detached from it, and it was just, I didn't feel right for me anymore. I just wanted to do something else. I wanted to focus on collaboration, you know? And the moment I decided to stop what I knew so well to do, and which my whole existence was based on, my business model of me, Cyrill, you know, like I charge hours, license, usage rights. I knew exactly how this works, you know, and it was a winning formula. I lived very well, trust me, yeah? I was never really focused on getting super rich. That was not my driver. But I lived very well, I developed my profile, it was all good. But to end that and to let it go, and this is the thing that I try always people to understand, is you don't open a new door while you cannot go in another room while you're still in the other. It's not happening. You have to close the door behind you, and you have to allow yourself the loss of what you knew so well. And it's not just saying, you're gonna keep it half open. It's really a decision. You end this. You change, and you allow yourself to discover something new. This is fucking scary, because we are defining ourselves so much about what we do, through what we do. It totally questions your image. It questions your value system. It questions everything. If you suddenly say, I give up my profession, I destroy my business model. And it took me 4 years, from 2008 to 2012. So I met Captain Paul Watson pretty much right on time, because that moment I knew exactly that I want to focus on collaborations. I will not be a designer anymore. I will not be a creator anymore. The only thing that I will do is I'm gonna help to establish a global culture of communication. That was my mission. I didn't know how, but that was my decision. And at that moment, I meet Captain Paul Watson, pretty much some months later. And I suddenly know exactly that this is my job. You know, my job, I can use all my skills, and I can help with what I have to offer and what my capabilities are. And that was the birth of Parley, truly, you know. And I've done everything what I've done for brands before, or for celebrities, or for governments, or whatever. Everything I've done for them till that date, I then suddenly twisted. Suddenly I realized that I didn't lose anything. I still have my skills, I still have my brain, I have my experience, I have everything. I just don't know how to make money. And this is something you have to sit out. Fuck it. Money will come. If you're doing something right, money will come back to you. I think this focus on money is mainly causing so much fear, you know? I mean, I'm not even rich, that's not what I'm saying. It's like, it always sounds like, oh my God, you know, you don't have to focus on money because you can afford it. It's not the point. I think money comes. It always comes. And in the moments where, at the beginning, Parley was really hard for us. You know, we took big debts. I mean, it was really hard. We'd sometimes we didn't know how to fly somewhere or to fly people from A to Z. And these were like expensive tickets to buy for these kind of people, you know? And we took high risks. And you wouldn't believe what happened, always in the last minute. And there was amounts that I was really feeling weird. You know, it was a huge amount. Suddenly, but somebody totally unexpected showed up and gave me a loan. Or somebody called and said, you know what, I'm using your design, and then I realized I never paid you. And I'm doing it since 10 years, I feel bad. Here's $10,000. I believe in energy now. Yeah. I didn't do that before, but now I know. It's like, it's very awkward. If you make a true decision and you are clean and pure in what you do, you become a magnet for everything what you need on that path. And that is, honestly, it sounds crazy and esoteric, but that's what I witnessed.
Yeah, it does work.
It's magic.
Yeah. And that's how...
It's logic, probably, simply. It's just logic, because you, in a way, create a signal that attracts another signal that is attracted by it.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, people like to support things that are true to themselves. And they trust in purity and in and instinct is pure. If you follow your instinct and you just do, and you can do as many. I mean, we did so many mistakes. It's not the point, you know. We fucked a lot of stuff up.
Yeah. No one really looks at them though, do they? Over time, you just move
exactly.
on.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that. I don't know if that answers your question.
What
But
would you
the
say
pain was there because, you know, you doubt, you follow your instinct. You don't, and your brain. If you follow your brain, you're pretty much often fucked because you cannot think it through so fast because you don't have the experience to build things on. If you enter the new territory in a way, so you have to shoot from the hip, and you have to follow your instinct. You have to react fast because you're figuring out while you're doing it. And of course it's scary. And you see the invoices piling up, and you see people around you freaking out, and they're all getting nervous. They don't really know if you know what you're doing. So there's anxiety, a lot of anxiety. And there's a lot of fear, and there's often even anger because people are they don't easily accept that you act like that, because it's questioning the known structures, you know. And if it's successful, it doesn't always generate support. Yeah, it's tough, and it still is, you know. I wake every morning up and feel like and question myself, and double check myself. I do, because it's a big objective, you know, and I feel that I only have so many arrows in my pocket, you know. I mean, I cannot lose one, you know. I have to be very precise, and it's a big gamble because there are so many different interest groups involved. You have to be so sensitive on one side, but on the other side you have to be strong and bulldozer your way, and it's this weird dance, really, you know. But I found a way to kind of convert that fear that normally would paralyze you, and that is really pretty much creative creation. I think that what really helps me is to create. I mean, to see this as a big creative project, you know, to see that, and it highly inspires me to work with all these artists because, they create an environment for us that is really recharging, you know. I mean, to do these art projects with like Aitken but also, to be honest, now to have these organizations like a Corona behind you, it's like suddenly you have these big brothers that are sitting around, these friends, you know. They're like sitting there and they're like, okay, where do you want to go? We help you. For them, it's like also funny a bit, I guess, you know. They're like, what's he doing? You know? I feel a lot of support there suddenly, and I think this is what calms me down, and that's also what gives me the confidence that we're on the right track. Is that there are people offering support in a way that I never expected. Knowledge, access to people, access to technologies, access to money, you know. And we are very careful with money. That's also something that I learned very early when I worked. I developed startups for other people or helped to start up things. I think mainly you want to stay in control of your own vision. You cannot have people in your board or people owning something of your company if you have a concept that needs you to be true to your vision and your instincts. It needs you to operate freely. And that's how we designed Parley. Parley is totally independent. Nobody can tell us anything. We can every day, at every moment, switch and turn around and do something. It's very clear for us. And even our partnerships are very clear. It's like, you help us to do our stuff better. There's no other component to that. Yeah? Once you want us to bend over for you, then there is no space there is no way for us to collaborate, really, because we are the cause.
Yeah.
And if we help you to find the benefit in that, and we help you to kind of have a profit from that, you know, change your organization, bring them into the future, come with us. But we will not allow that we get forced into another direction. We are open to learn. It's a big difference. And we can pivot if we think it's right, but we're not allowing anyone to push us in another direction, or to blackmail us, or to do anything what normally happens in a typical environment of economy. Yeah, with normal shareholders, with normal public shareholders even. I mean, these companies, they have a hard job. You know, it costs a lot of energy to balance that. You know? And that's, we were very clear, and it was very hard, and that was painful, to stay strict, not to sell yourself out too early, or anyway, you know, just to be very, very, very protective. And we established that. Also, we don't have a big board. We have advisors, we have councils that advise us, but I think the artist operates the best, or the creator operates the best when he's free.
Yeah.
You know? And you can trust the creator. He will find his way under the mountain. He will probably not, you will never have control over how, but you're going to meet up there earlier than you expect. But you will not be able to make a map and say, this is the one path you have to take, because it's not what we do. Fucking hell. No. And that's, I would say, not only, that's painful for others often, to give up that control in partnering with us, you know.
And that feels like fear.
That is fear.
Because it's so, because we're conditioned to hold everything, so, and guard everything. And if someone comes, we have to stamp them out.
Totally.
And then you're kind of going, we're going over here.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's, do you want to come?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, they've probably never been asked. It's
exactly.
Like, give me this, and I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've been training for this?
Mm-hmm.
Everything you've done? Because it sounds like you're just, everything up until that point when you met Paul Watson was...
Training. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
To be very honest. And until this point, I felt myself unsteady. Because I saw the creative industry, I saw the industry itself, but also the creative industry from all sides. I always was a creative, but I did a lot of PR strategy. I did a lot of identity. I loved doing design, like product design. I worked with such a broad variety of different organizations, individuals, and whatever, that at a certain moment you come to the point and think like, fuck, am I hopping around? Am I like, don't I know where I belong to? Or you start asking yourself. But then the moment, first of all, I did that always kind of driven by my instinct. I never really, I felt attracted to always new challenges. Yeah. But when I met Paul and I saw what's going on out there, I knew that I'm perfectly educated for that. That's exactly it. It was my school.
Yeah.
And that felt fucking cool. Because you are very quickly come to the point that it gets very boring. You know, you think like, I've done this 100,000 times, even if it's different challenges, but why?
Yeah.
For what? Fucking hell, you know? I won an award, should I really now fight to win 10 more? How much money do I need? You know, I actually more and more reduced my spendings. You know, it's like, what's the next big challenge?
Yeah.
And I was quite happy that there is one.
Yeah. Well, there's always a challenge.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful one. And again, I couldn't believe that this is even, I couldn't believe that everything is going down so fast. I couldn't believe that damage is spreading so quickly. You know, it is, honestly, it's breathtaking. And now and in 2012, in the last, between 2012 and 2017, a lot happened because back then there was I would say there was not really an awareness for that. You know, and now there is. And back then people looked at me and they thought I'm crazy. I'm a tree hugger now. I'm like, it was really a little bit dangerous sometimes. They felt like really I lost it. They thought like, this guy, you know, what is he talking about? The oceans are dying. What's wrong with this person?
Yeah.
You know? But now, 5 years later, it's a different scenario. Of course, we talked a lot to the same people over the 5 years. I'm very patient and persistent. But on the other hand, also people hear it from other sides, you know, and they feel it.
Yeah. Is it just a symptom of where we are? Because it feels like everything's just a mirror. Like, I really believe that everyone's trying to heal themselves. And it's like, we're shown this. I think, you know, Big Pharma, Big Soda, all of it's everywhere.
I think what happens now is, and this is what I think what is happening. In the past, people were living in a very schizophrenic relationship between their private life not relationship, but two realities really. They had their private life and their personal opinion, their personal feelings, and they had their professional life where they are allowed to have certain feelings, certain thoughts, but it always had to serve the organization they work for.
Mm-hmm.
And I experienced that in a very harsh way. That people were sitting on a table and saying to you, nobody will like this product because nobody uses text messages, for example, when I worked for a mobile phone company. And while this guy, who was the boss of that company, told me that nobody ever will use these phones for text, this target audience, these people out there are not using their phones for text messages, but they are using them as fashion objects. While he was saying that to me, he was writing a text message. So how would you sit in a company and create products for people you have no idea who they are, and you see yourself not as that target audience? How can you accept that you're so detached from the people you think you to create product and services for?
Yeah.
This is wrong. This is totally wrong. It's like, if you don't feel something, if you don't know for whom you're doing something, if you don't have no empathy, no knowledge, why are you even doing your job? And why would you not allow yourself to learn from yourself and say, if I like something, then it's very likely that other people like that too. There is this, I don't know if this makes sense now to you, but there was a very long time, people thought you have to behave in a certain way when you represent your company. You have to make decisions that hurt. You have to be strong. You have to be an asshole. Yeah, this is not personal. This is just business. What? Business is all about personal. And I think this is something that step by step changes now.
Yeah.
And also the fact that all what you do becomes more and more public. So it kind of comes together. And I feel that people are, in a way, now more interested to actually make sense. You know, and that's playing in our favor. I don't know if that makes sense for you, but that's something I kind of experienced. You know?
Yeah, I experienced pretty much the same thing. Yeah.
And they're more self-confident. I mean, you can say whatever you want against selfies, but people love themselves. Oh. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's something going on. I don't know if this is really the truth, if this is really, but is something happening? I feel that they're more self-aware. There's something is happening, and that is in our favor. And I just hope that it's all like that. We're just fast enough. That's the only concern that I have. Really is, I don't doubt that we are able to invent our way out of this shit because we brought ourselves into it. It's like very logic. Yeah. I am also not worried about, once we make the decision to change, that we can really change rapidly. We can. We have proven it in the past. I'm just worried about, are we getting the timing right? You know, are we just doing all this fast enough?
Right. Yeah.
I just have a timing issue because the decline of life is so fast and our change process is so slow. You know, actually it's really slow. But what I do love is that I do see as a positive signal is that the growth of the environmental movement, or I would say the appreciation of the environmental movement or environmental thoughts, this whole trend is rapidly increasing, rapidly. It's the fastest growing trend in history. And that's what kind of, I just hope that the timings work out, and that's what we are doing. That's actually what Parley really does. We feel that these processes happen anyway, and they will happen because they're logic.
Yeah.
We're just trying to expedite it massively, like boost it. And by creating, I would say, ocean champions and using and working with key, I mean, we call it epicenters. You go for key topics, you go for key spaces like places or media channels, and you go for key organizations, players really, and people. You know, be it in the art world, we pick the 20 artists that we feel stand for what we do or could stand for what we do, or people would believe them if they would get out with a message like that, or would be surprised, you know, and would say, oh wow, I have to rethink it myself if he says it, you know, or she. And the same with the companies. You would not expect a beer company to take a stand. It comes unexpected, but it's logic. It's logic. They don't like plastic bottles. They hate them. It's the one big beverage company, and it's the biggest, that actually doesn't like plastic. You know, that's great. You know, and people will listen to them who would not listen to me. So every collaboration partner is a key to a specific network. We see these people as they can create an epicenter. They can be the middle of a storm. They can create their own storm. And if we are fast enough in tapping into these different networks, and we are fast enough in creating enough epicenters, then we will make change. We will hit through what we call the normal.
Yeah.
And we will open it up, and we allow a new reality to develop or to evolve. That's the strategy. And that's what we're doing.
And those epicenters, do you have a rough roadmap? Like you
We have an exact roadmap. It's very, very precise. Yeah. We have a dedicated person that is the epicenter navigator. That keeps. We know exactly what we want, but we don't push. We never push. We never go out and push, but we are very receptive. I don't believe in push at all. I believe that, your actions are the best magnet for the people. And if you don't attract the right people that you want to work with, then you're doing something wrong. Something is not fitting.
Quite.
You know, then there's something wrong with you, and you should not even try to work with them because it will not work out. You know, but if you're doing it in a good way, they will find you very quickly because now everything is connected, everybody is connected. But I believe really that it's more than ever important that you are very nearly humble on one side and very focused on what you actually do, and focused on being very clear in the way you are vocalizing yourself. And the more precise you are, the better are the chances that you will attract the right partners. That's how I feel, you know.
Yeah. It feels like a natural.
It's the funny thing is, at a certain moment, it's just normal. You just have to allow yourself to be straight, which is hard. Fucking hell, especially in the beginning. And that back to your original question: is it pain? Oh fuck yeah, it's pain. Because there's always a shortcut. There's always a way to short wire, and you are so tempted. You know, I mean, when we started and we had our first big success, we were also, I have to say, we were fortunate, because we had a good hand on picking our first partners, or luck. But then people approach you and say, "Wow, this is attractive what you're doing. Can I give you money?" And you're like, "Yes, I want money, but I can't really work with you because you're a plastic bottling company. If I do that, then I kill my credibility, I compromise, and I can't do that." Probably there is something more valuable in being straight and growing my brand and making it very, very strong and pure and clean. And probably there is something, but it's like saving money. It's like putting money in a little piggy bank. It's like, shit, I can't spend it now. I have to put it in there and I have to wait and to be disciplined. It's annoying, because we had great offers all the time. We had until now, over 500 companies. I think we even are close to 600 now that want to work with us. Only counting direct contacts coming to us. There are like way more that came to our external partners, asked if we want to work with them. It's like totally crazy. But we sifted through it, and we felt like we have optimized the process of testing very early if people mean it. So we don't waste their time, and we're not sitting in endless meetings and calls and presentations, and end of the day it's not working. They're not ready, and it doesn't mean that they're not ready in a few years. That's the other thing. But I think we have to learn and I learned really, is be patient. It's not like oh, give me a job now, you don't give me a job, you're stupid, and then I will never talk to you again. No, we're gonna most likely meet each other again and again and again and again, and one day
Yeah.
we probably do something together, but no rush, you know?
Yeah. I guess that people want to be first, don't they? They see it as a trend.
They want to be first, but they don't want to take the risk, which is not really a good combination. Yeah. So they want to play something that is safe.
The guaranteed first.
Yeah, and mostly they want to do, that's what you see. It's very rare that people go and say, and we experience this, and especially with the materials that we developed, but also with everything actually, that people say, I want to do and change my company, and I want to first start from top down, and let's look at my premium products, look at my best sellers, look at my holy chambers, and start from there. Normally people do the other way. They start from total down and say, you know what, I would like to change the plastic tray that is under my computer and the packaging item. If this works, that we use ocean plastic for that, then we could probably go and make the bag, the sleeve where the computer is pulled in. If this works, I can make the pallets. That's wrong. You're just creating more shit. But if you're going and saying, like Adidas did, you're putting this first into our total performance line. We're bringing our soccer players onto the field and let Real Madrid play with your jerseys. This is trust, especially after you saw one of the competitors having ripping T-shirts. It was not recycled material, but still, there is a fear now. And you have a brand that said, I believe so much in what we do and what Parley does. We're going to put our number one out there into the race, sporting that stuff. That sends a signal. That's strong. That's what Tesla did. You know, they built a fast car. They didn't say we gotta have this little hand cart. You know, it's like you want to make a statement. You want to go in bold, and then you want to see how you can change your whole company.
Yeah,
that's the people we want to work with, and that's also what brings us to these guys here. You know, you want to do bold shit.
And do you only work that way round? Would you work with? Because the other way is to build things ground up.
Yeah, but then we don't show ourselves. We do that, we talk, and we let them test and whatever, but we don't officially partner until they're ready. It's a lot of time. But we do it, we are doing it. With some people we are in negotiations and even in like test phase since 4 years. You know, they always come back when they need a year. They come back or they test something, but we would not at this point we need strong examples to shake up the industries. Yeah, we need big examples. We need the little things will come early enough. You know, we will do that. We will open up, or will help others to kind of cater to everyone. It's not that we will be able to change it all. It's not the point, you know. We at this moment in time are just like creating these lighthouses, these strong blueprints. It's really that, you know, because there's so many people out there. They will find their own way to break it down in their own way. But you need some role models, you know. And I feel that we need to create a role model in every industry, in every society layer. Somebody who did it first. That gives you or everyone else gives the security that is something good. It's relevant for me. It's relevant for my sector. It's relevant for my personal network. It's relevant for my life. And now I'm gonna do it also because somebody has shown how it works, and somebody took the risk for me, or somebody thought it through for me. Probably it's very rare that people want to be the first mover, or even have the idea to be the first mover. That's why I see, and that's why I feel. That's what I said. We are the test pilots of society in a way. Somebody has to run against the wall 5 times or 10 times and 100 times to understand if this wall is solid or not. You know.
And it probably isn't.
Hopefully not.
Well, walls just, they appear, you know, don't they?
Just
Yeah. When it happens, people will be like,
easy.
yeah. I remember my mum saying she could remember when plastic bags came in. And it only dawned on me the other day, like I think on the first day. It's like, oh, yeah, like but they can remember. It's such a short space of time.
Boom.
When that came in.
Technology.
And then in India, I was in India at the start of the year, they banned plastic bags in a weekend.
In some cities, yeah.
Yeah. Like when you go to India, you're like, how can they galvanize anything?
Yeah.
But it just works on a totally different operating system.
Oh yeah.
But they seem to do it, and they're going to go to paperless money, and you're like, if they can do it,
oh yeah, everybody can do it.
Everyone.
There's no excuse.
Yeah.
The only excuse is not to do it is existing economic systems that are past due, but are protected by agreements, by laziness, by tradition. Yeah. But the truth is this: you cannot keep change. I mean, you can't prevent change forever. And end of the day, and that's why we always believe in the R the most of air. If there's a new technology that makes more sense, in this case a new material, this will happen overnight. It's just a question right now of creating so much demand and triggering the imagination of people who have the skills to develop them and people who have the means to fund them. We have to make it such a strong trend. That's what we're doing. That people don't want to miss that opportunity. And Parley, it's really our role to make it more lucrative, as I said, to protect the oceans than to destroy them. But it's an abstract sentence. You have to break down. You have to say, what does that mean for fertilizer? What does that mean for plastic? What does that mean for energy? So end of the day, I'm doing exactly the same job that I always did in my life. I'm creating trends. That's what my job is, you know?
Just on a
different mission.
Totally
different client.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I thought that yesterday when I was sitting there. Actually, no, when I arrived, I was really stressed out and it was tough 2 weeks, you know. So much going on. We're starting a new partnership with this intergovernment organization and it's so intense and you are like I arrived here and I was like so fucked. And first thing what I did, I went down to the beach and I was sitting there in the chair. And it was funny because I felt like, oh, this is a business meeting. You know, I'm sitting here with my client and it's the first time really that I sit with my client and it chills me. And I'm going out of this meeting and I will be fucking charged up. You know, all my batteries are full and I feel good and happy and we didn't even speak a word.
Yeah.
You know, that was what I felt and it's the truth. I mean, to be honest, that was probably that was the moment when I saw Captain Paul Watson on June 16, 2012 that the idea of having a dead sea is something very personal for me. Because the oceans were always, and it sounds crazy when I say that, but it's the truth. The oceans were for me this one place where I can recharge. And I go there and I even don't have to touch the water. I'm just at the water and I feel this power, this beautiful, massive energy space, whatever you want to call it, and it just makes me stop thinking. It's the only place on this planet where I don't think, and it totally cleanses me in like no time. It's like, and recalibrates me and balances me, and allows myself peace. So the idea of this source of life, this source of this resort really of mine, my hideout spot, that being in danger, that being under attack, that disappearing and we are being guilty or participating in that destruction is something I cannot accept. Because what would I do without it?
Yeah.
It's like losing your home. really. That's how. That's the. If I have to describe that feeling that I had in that moment when I learned about it, or I would say in this time period when I learned about it and validated it and researched it and found out it's true, there was something very scary for me. So I think this fear to lose what is so important for myself, what gives me really, certain security really, because I always know I can always go back there, you know, was probably stronger than the fear to change. And that's why it kind of overrode everything. It's just, I will not accept that. I dedicate my life to that. That was clear at that moment, and I didn't change my fucking mind 1 single second.